I just received the Brazil.
Shorty and Kosi, your prediction?
Should say, like, I always bet against Shorty, but like always I think, how Shorty is gonna win. Like I always feel like Shorty won't do it, but when he goes fights, like I see him, he's like
different.
And always when I speak to him before the fight, I'm worried more than him. Like I tell him, what do you think? Because sometimes I see him like what he's gonna do, and I see him, he's very like he doesn't care. He's very comfortable. Then when I see him fight, I'm like, okay, like he fights really different than the training. Like that's the thing. Like when you spar with Shorty, he's not as good when he fights. When he fights, he's really good. Especially after the middle of the first round. When the second round goes, he gets really good. And I don't know, I would say Shorty. Like Shorty by decision. I think later rounds, the more the fight goes, the better Shorty would go. Or if the fight would finish in the beginning, it would be Nikoski.
Yeah, I think fourth and fifth round will be an important one for that. If you have, and in terms of styles, what would you rather fight, an Nkosi or a Shorty?
What I would rather fight? Both are good. Like shorter and pressure guy or longer striking guy. Both are good. Like even I think Nikoski is good when he attacks more than moving backward. And Shorty moves a lot of forward. So if Shorty can get through those knees, I think he'll be good.
Yeah, I think the clinch is going to be crazy, right? Like when they're in the clinch position.
And the clinch is always good for the taller guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's big height difference. So, but Shorty's thing is he's good from body control and clinches, and he knows how to handle these things. And he trains with a lot of high-level guys. He fought, like he has that experience. I don't think it would be something new for him.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think he Shorty himself is pretty strong at the clinch level. And but Nkosi, I think there's something when you read about this kid Nkosi, you just go to his stories and you're like, I didn't know that Nkosi actually knew mixed martial art or heard about mixed martial art in 2016.
Really?
Yeah, and he came to know about mixed martial in 2016, and when he went to a fight, he got his fight, which nobody wanted. His coaches didn't want him to fight, but he just wanted to get that fight, and he got the first amateur fight in 2016. He didn't know what this is. He didn't know what the rules were, and he walked into the cage without groin cup and shin pads, nothing, because he didn't know how does this work, So that's when he started mixed martial art, and in 2 years' time, in 2018, he was the pound for pound number one African fighter, African gold medalist.
MMA fighter, yeah.
And he was ranked number one amateur in just 2 years. So that learning process that he had was so quick, how much he's adapted to mixed martial art. But also, I think he has this very good, this relationship with Brave. Brave started in 2016, and Nkosi started in 2016. And Nkosi didn't think that mixed martial art is going to be his career or his future until he came to Brave International Combat Week in Bahrain. And that's when he saw the magnitude of the event, all the things that's happening at the World Championship in Bahrain. That's when he decided that's where he wants to fight. This is what he wants to do in his life. And I think I'm going to make mixed martial art my career. And then he didn't have his coach for whatever personal reasons they have had. And luckily, he got back his coach in South Africa event when he came to Brave South Africa. His coach also had an opponent fighting in the same card, and he didn't have a corner, so he asked the other coach. He begged him actually to corner him, and the coach cornered him. And since then, they've been together all the way, all the success. And he started his first fight in his pro career with Brave. And I think, could be wrong, we had fact checked this, but I think he must be the only fighter who started with Brave for his first fight and stayed with Brave all the way to the journey of becoming fighting for the title.
He's only ever fought for Brave. I think he is, yeah.
Could be, right?
Yeah.
So he has this weird relationship with Brave. It's kind of like a marriage with Brave and him, and it's going, and there he is. We have the stage set, Pan American Championship. African gold medalist of IMAF, two-time world champion of IMAF, in front of all those people that Colombia is creating history. These two guys are going to be fighting. But interesting thing, this fight is for everyone. This fight is for IMMAF and everybody that's talking about how important that amateur career is. And guys like you and me, we would have wished we had those 2025 amateur fights before we start our pro careers as well, because that's so much of experience you can take from it. And it shows that what can happen with that kind of amateur background, and they represent that in IMAF. But at the same time, for fighters who love to watch fights, when we say styles make fights, I think this is one of those things. We're talking about shorter guy, longer guy, grappling striker. He's got elbows and knees. And it's just a perfect mix of what these two styles are. And for me, it's a completely 50-50 fight, because whoever imposes their game plan.
What is winning streak, Nikoski?
Because he's now
five
fight win streak.
Yeah, so he's like the new guys who's been winning a long time, they don't believe they can lose. And that's like something strong they have,
He's changed his nickname to the Future. That's how confident he is these days. It was King, now it's the Future. He's got this different aura about him now.
You can see him in his fights. He's always very confident, and I think he has really, really good IQ. And but that's the interesting part. That's what I mean, that I can't predict this fight, because these two are very intelligent fighters. Two fighters who have really good IQ. Even if you look at Shorty, I mean, when we met him in 2015 onwards, you know. I have to give shout out and credit to his coach as well, Bob. I mean, they always talk, it's just like storybooks. They could write storybooks about techniques and positions, and they're always detailing this.
Bob have a book.
He does have a book, yeah. I did read that book, yeah.
He have a book about
It's
techniques.
all about the science behind the techniques, and they talk so much detail about why that feeling of, how can you feel the body in every position, and they try to break it down and understand. So I think the IQ-wise, these two are really intelligent fighters, and that's why I think it could even end up with two guys overthinking in a fight as well. But I think that it's very hard to predict the fight. Two different styles. Who imposes their styles more can make it happen. But yeah, like I said, Nkosi is one of those guys who's climbed up so fast in his career. And it's also the position, like you said, when you fought, you didn't really think that experience is a thing.
But it is.
But it is. So, yeah.
Especially 5 rounds. When it goes to 5 rounds, some guys, especially the guys with experience, they would know how to win. But you don't know always, like a fight. That's the thing about MMA. You never know no predictions would work.
And also, it's not like, okay, it's 5-round fight. I'm going to spar 10 rounds and I will get that experience.
No, it's different. It's different fight. Like some guys would win 5 rounds, but if you give them 3 rounds, they would lose, Especially experienced guys. It's very different fight. It's like from amateur guys who fight 3 minutes amateur fight to going pro 5 minutes. It's different. They cannot just go hard the full 3 minutes, And then when you go 25 minutes, it's completely different game plan. You need a lot of guys, they would go hard the beginning, then round 3 or 4, they would rest. Again, they would go hard. It's different tactic. It's a lot of tactic in the 5-round fights.
Yeah.
But some guys like Nikoski, he finished fights. So he can finish before going to the later rounds. But we don't know how his coaches are planning for the 5 rounds as well. That's the first time. Maybe it's better for him to do 5-round fights. You don't know.
Yeah.
He's certainly the bigger man.
Yeah, the bigger man, he would not gas out more, But Shorty also we never saw him gassing out.
But the weight cut as well, right? I mean, we're talking about Shorty. His weight cut is going to be so much better at bantamweight, and
yes.
you're not going to have that affect you. But I don't think even Nkosi has really...
No, he always makes it easy.
Yeah. So, yeah. These two are top guys, but if you as a bantamweight, I'm sure that this is, you said that that's your title, and at some point you're going to be having fights with these guys, and it's just brewing up for you while you come back from your injury. If you had to make that, I mean, definitely look at being in Shorty's corner and in Nkosi's corner. If you had to give some keys to victory, what would be those little things that you think that what you would have done or prepared for if you're fighting Shorty?
If I'm fighting Shorty, I think if I'm Nikoski, I should go hard from the beginning and use my knees more, keep the distance, and try to use more footwork, you know, like circling and hit, so I can damage him more than the fight goes. I can increase the damage for Shorty. And for Shorty, like, just follow his game plan and keep the pressure on, use more, mix it, the wrestling, and especially Nikoski is tall, he wouldn't be able to throw a lot of combinations like Shorty does. But I think Shorty would work the body because he's shorter. He should be able to work the body, especially in 5-round fights. He should be able to punch the body more. And I see also, like, Nikoski have good body kicks. Like I saw, he have body kicks, good knees to the body. I think both of them, they should start to focus more on the body, better than head hunting. And I saw Nikoski in later fights, he has good wrestling, especially defense and wrestling. So I think taking him down won't be that easy. Like, it won't, maybe Shorty also won't be able to take him down. We don't ever know. Maybe he will, he won't. I don't know. Like, both of them, they have a lot of points they should figure out by now.
Shorty's got some good body shots, by the way.
Shorty has, Shorty, and he has a lot of good combinations. Like the way when he boxes, especially in close distance, he's very good. But like I said, Nikoski's tall, no? So when someone's tall, you have only overhands. You cannot throw.
Right.
You cannot throw uppercuts. You cannot throw anything.
And I'm always worried about that. I mean, not with Nkosi, because Nkosi, he has, sometimes you see him taking the step and getting on a very low stance. You'd see him almost squatting when he's sometimes standing in the position to strike. But this is something that happens, especially when you walk backwards and you get those opportunities to throw your combinations and to take Shorty's body while Nkosi is 5'10". I think that's going to be a lot of punching lower to your shoulders, and you're going to be punching Shorty lower, and that's setting you up for those head hunts, you know?
Yeah, and that's like when you squat, one thing, when you squat, you'll be open to the calf kicks, no? And Shorty have good calf kicks, especially when he's closing the distance, he would mix the calf kicks, so it would be more opening for
it will slow you down as well, right?
Yes, and if Nkosi has to keep the distance and move around a lot, that's going to make him really, really slow if we get some of those calf kicks. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, there will be a lot of opening if he move down or move around, like both of them. So I don't know, like, especially if you move around for 5 rounds, it's not easy, you know? Punching and moving around for 5 rounds. It should be, but Nikoski cardio is good. I think he can do it.
He definitely can. Like this guy's a cardio machine, but also I'm really like the secret for Nkosi is gonna be how well he uses elbow, and I think that his elbows are going to make a big difference in this fight. When you look at his last fights, you see guys trying to go for those takedowns, and you stay there for 2 to 3 seconds, and you'll see elbows coming from all different directions, and he's not that guy who's worried about, okay, I got to keep defending the takedown. He's going to try to throw those elbows, whether you're in a clinch, whether you're having those little distance between each other. And if that's the distance where Shorty wants to get to, then he really has to be worried about Nkosi's elbows. And like you said, his takedown, his knees as well. I think that's going to be something, you know, those knees are going to be dangerous.
He have more weapons in his fight. He would be having more weapons.
Definitely. So, yeah. But on the grappling side, though, I think Shorty has the upper hand.
Yeah, he has more experience in the grappling. He has like judo black belt.
Yeah.
And an NCAA wrestler.
And
Division 2.
He's a good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu. Like, he have all the grappling material, you know. He have good takedowns from the upper body, not only shooting for double leg. And his double legs are good. Like, you see some of his fights. He's very well-rounded in the grappling area. And like we saw his fight with Azzeddin. You know, like, he would take him down, and Azzeddin, like, would have hard time to stand up.
Yeah. And Azzeddin is not a small guy.
No, he's not.
He's, like, that's what we thought. Like, Azzeddin is much bigger. What would Shorty do? And he's taller. He's much taller. Like, we're thinking, oh, that's big size difference, big height difference. And Shorty, like, you see, like, he just walked in, and his blocks, he, like, the way he looks at when someone's punching him, his visual is very good. Like, the way he blocks and that, he's very good at blocking punches and walking in.
I'm very calm while he's doing that. Like, it's so calm. Like, it's not like, oh, you threw a punch. It's there, you know, it is part of the journey, you know, like, he just keeps walking into it. That's why I was saying that, like, it's not like you can strike with him and you feel like he's going to be challenged by the striking because he loves to take those punches. That's why I said it's very Mexican boxing mentality that he has, and it's something that it's so much fun to watch as well. When he walks and he takes those, you kick him, he checks it. You walk in, he punches, he's holding his hand close to his head. He's not that guy. He's comfortable with striking. It's really comfortable. But that's why I said I think those elbows and knees is what's going to make the difference for Nkosi. But yes, for sure, I think when it comes to grappling. Although Nkosi has those long reaches, he does have long limbs to get those unexpected submissions. But I think Shorty the experience is going to play there.
I didn't realize he was a kickboxing champion as well.
Shorty?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shorty's had a lot of experience.
Fights,
In everything.
Yeah.
There is nothing he
that's
hasn't
what I
done.
think. Karate black belt, I never knew about it, but when I was listening
What,
to
huge question, karate or?
I think it was Shotogan. I'm not very sure, but it was more of a thing. I think he was 4-year-old or 5-year-old when he was put into a karate class, and then his master or coach was a female. Am I telling the wrong thing? Oh, okay. It was I thought you're fact checking, Jimmy. So young Jimmy. So yeah, at 4 or 5, and his master or teacher was actually a female. And after a couple of weeks, she was leaving the gym. She said her goodbyes to the gym, and then she called Shorty, and Shorty says that I still remember this, that she was telling him that don't stop training karate till you get the black belt, and he actually did that. He went all the way till he got a black belt in karate, and then with Master Bob, and he started learning the new types of mixing up all the fighting techniques. So yeah, he's come from that background where he has. Striking was that initial discipline that he comes from. That's why you can see him so comfortable with the striking aspect of things. But yeah, again, Nkosi, how much he's evolved quickly. You don't know what Nkosi is going to come out. I mean, it was. I think it was about Nkosi. I was saying that every time we see him fight, he's different, and he's growing so much. And we always knew that he had this problem with takedowns. Today we're looking and saying that it's hard to take him down, But that was not the case 2 fights back.
But in South Africa, they have good wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, South Africa, they have some good wrestlers. So if they have a good coach in wrestling, he would develop very fast.
And when you train with...
Eliezer Kubanza.
If your training partner is Kubanza, I mean, that guy is a monster.
The super welterweight, the one with the head kick.
Yeah.
That guy's scary, man.
He's a bit bigger than Shorty.
Yeah. It was good to watch him fight, and then suddenly I get called I was watching the fight, and from behind I get a call. I turn around and it's Kubanza, and I was like, what is that? Like you just really feel like you stand in front of him and you get this feeling that the same feeling. I mean, not the same size surely, but I had this weird, uncomfortable feeling when I was doing the weigh-ins for Franz Ngannou when he fought in KHK tryouts, and we did the weigh-ins for them in City Center.
Yeah.
And while we were doing the weigh-ins and they were doing the face-off, I felt very uncomfortable. Like it was not a good feeling to have when he was standing next to me. And he was having this Muay Thai shots, and it wasn't a really good feeling to be standing in front of him, and it was crazy. So if not that size, but I just got that kind of a feeling when I was standing in front of Kubanza, and I was like, I just need to reach back safe, I mean, that's the mentality you get.
Absolute phenom.
And if he's training, like if Nkosi is training with Kubanza, we've discussed about this a couple of times, it is great to have somebody bigger and stronger that you're training with so you go and fight Shorty, and it's something that you feel so comfortable to have someone much lighter than who your training partner is. But at the same time, I also think, like we were discussing about the gap in getting to fight the same style fighter. I mean, how important is it to practice with someone with similar style and you get that rhythm with it. So if you're training with Kubanza, which is amazing, you from the technical perspective, I mean, you're doing great, but are you preparing for that same, does that help you with a style like Shorty, who's shorter, which might be the opposite? You're training a different game plan, and from your camps, do you usually do that? Do you try to get, let's say, find someone who's similar in style or height and size, or that's not as important as we think it is?
No, of course it's important. Like before, I used to think, no, just train with bigger guys, but then when smaller guys come, it's different speed, it's different. Maybe you'll get it will be easier for the strength and easier for the punches because it will be less powerful punches and less strength. But like when you grapple with bigger guys, you won't move a lot. You'll just use a lot of strength, and then
That's
small
exactly what
guys
you
come
said.
and they'll start
Exactly what you said.
they'll start to move fast, and you'll just start to gas out.
And your rhythm changes, right?
Yeah, and like, oh, I need to train with these guys now, and then you start shifting with these guys, and then especially when you have a fight lined up, you need to have some guys who would copy the guys you're fighting, because it's different, like different weapons. No, he's throwing, let's say, the head kicks and the way he's shooting for takedowns and his punches. You need to be ready for these things, not just spar with anyone and go. Like especially for a professional fight, if you're going to a amateur tournament, train with anyone. But if you have an opponent, like let someone be specialized like this guy. It's much better.
Also for the muscle memory, I think so, because when you have that same pace, same rhythm, at least it's not 100% accurate, but to get that similar height, those mistakes that you would make punching down on a shorter fighter and then leaving yourself open for an overhand right, but also that pace I was talking to you about, like when you have that scramble, I think that's like Dan Gable says, like that's one of the most important techniques in grappling that they never teach you, is scrambling. And that's the most important one. But when you scramble, the pace and the way a heavier opponent scrambles to a bantamweight, it's completely different, and that's why it's so much exciting to see this bantamweight fight. It's so technical, you know.
And Shorty used to be a flyweight, and he can scramble. So it's not even a bantamweight. Like it's a natural flyweight that's scrambling. He's going to be even quicker than you anticipate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's something. It's an interesting fight. We look forward to it. I think it's a fight that you'll be watching very closely. But your weight division, I think, even if you look at it, I know the Shorty is the second in ranking after you. So you have Shorty, and Kosi's in the ranking. But the likes of Veli Murad is in your weight class. And how good was Huende in his last fight? I mean,
Awesome.
That was a very surprising.
Very, very, very impressive.
I knew how good he was, but I thought that Veli Murad's experience and his, let's say, this bucket of knowledge and fights he've had and all those accolades that he carries with him, I thought that's going to completely show when they fought. But it was a very, very close and tough fight.
So impressive. He left with a contract.
Yeah.
He lost, but he left with a contract. He impressed that much.
100% earned every single word in that contract, let's say. You
Yeah.
know, so that's an interesting weight class when you have Huendes, Veli Murads, Gamzat, yourself, Shorty and Kosi, just getting stacked, and everybody is like, Veli Murad is right.
It's like the toughest weight class in the world now, like bantamweight.
And they're all your friends. You got to fight all your friends.
That's the thing when you fight, when you already are in, you fought 11 fights in an organization. It just feels like everybody knows everyone at some point. You either meet them at tournaments, you're in the training camp, you're traveling to places, and you just end up knowing everyone's in detail. And I think that, but that's also why I think this weight class is not only it's one of the best weight class and amazing, fun to see what the stories are going to be, but also it's very unpredictable.
You've also got Ali Guliev coming down.
Yes,
The
there you go.
undefeated 7-0 prospect from Azerbaijan. You know, he's impressed at featherweight. He's coming down as an undefeated guy.
I think that's the interesting one when you have the likes of Izzeddin and the likes of Ali Guliev moving down a weight class, as opposed to guys like Veli Murad and Shorty Torres moving a weight class up.
Everyone's coming to the bantamweight.
Everybody's coming to your weight class.
They all want you, mate.
That's the good thing, no? You want to train, because if you have a lot of good fighters, you need to keep up with them and you have to get better, and that's a good challenge, you know? That's what keeps you like training hard and more focused. And you see like the skills at bantamweight, like it's much better than higher weight. Like bantamweight and let's say lightweight are the two toughest weight classes, but bantamweights are getting much better by time.
No, true. But I also think, for me, I always think that the guys who are moving from flyweight to bantam have somehow slightly a little more advantage from the guys who are moving from feather to bantam. I just feel like it's a much more tougher cut.
Agreed.
It's just, for me, I just feel that way, and for you've moved from, you fought in how many weight classes?
Lightweight but lightweight that time we didn't know how to cut weight.
Sure. Well, you did fight though.
Yeah,
You fought in lightweight, you fought in featherweight, you fought in bantamweight. Do you think that this is your home, bantamweight?
yes, I think I'm the best shape at bantamweight. When I'm at featherweight, I'm not in the best shape. Like even like when I fought Mora, I wasn't as fast. I wasn't everything. Like when I fight featherweight, I'm bit slower. But if I'm bantamweight, like even my preparation and everything, I feel more comfortable.
How strict do you have to be to get down there?
Very strict.
Yeah. It's not easy for you to make bantam.
No, like 3 months or 2. Like I should be in shape. I shouldn't be like out of shape, and then I should be dieting for at least 12 months, 12 weeks, and like very hard diet. Like it would get to a point like last 6 weeks or 7 weeks. It would get to a point it's not diet. It's just like not eating. Like I have very small meals,
Right.
and a lot of training. It would be a very tough camp, but I realized I need that I need tough nights at tough camps, because when I have that like tough weight cut and tough everything, like my mentality is much stronger. Like I would go to the fight much hungrier than I wouldn't do a tough weight cut and like easier weight. Like I need to be stressed in the fight camp. I don't know. I recognize that in my last few fights. Like before, I thought like every time I would fight in featherweight, I'll think, oh, that's nice. I'm dieting, but I'm having like, at least I'm having dinner.
You don't have to be as disciplined.
Not just disciplined. Like when I fight bantamweight, I won't have dinner. Like I'll train hard. I'll just have yogurt and sleep, and then I would wake up because I'm hungry. I want to eat breakfast. I would wake up earlier. I'll eat, and then a lot of trainings, and I'll be always worrying about the weight. But I think for me, I feel I need to feel that in the fight camp, and then when I go fight, it's just like, oh, I finished the fight camp now. Let's just fight. So it's much better, and I would be much angry, much more hungry to the fight than just like more normal camp. A lot of guys are the opposite, but for me, I need that. I need to feel the struggle.
You just feel like you put in a lot of work. It's just like you're always more committed to something that you've put so much of your work, right? I mean, in any field, I mean, whether it's fighting or a corporate world or any of those, how much work did I put on this project, So I think camp is like a project. You're dealing with that fight as the main goal, and the more hard work you put in, I think the more committed you are to that, somehow subconsciously as well. And but you would like to have some fights, or do you think of enjoying that lifestyle of not really having to work this hard and fight once in a while?
The thing is, with bantamweight, I cannot fight a lot. Like it would be a very hard weight cut. Then after the fight, I would need some time to recover. If I fight some fights here and there, I would be able to fight more, and I want to fight more. Even if I would fight catch weights like 140, it's much better than 135. And I would be able to fight more. That's the thing. That's the only thing. Like when I think about a fight, it would be like I need a long time to cut the weight,
Yeah.
And that's why I think I need some fights here and there to be able to fight more. I need when I get back, I want to fight 3 or 4 times a year. Like I'm fighting the last few years, I'm fighting twice, and that's like I have only few years left in my career, so I need to capitalize on this.
What do you see the next year for you? I think 2023 is going to be the year of recovery for you. And 2024, what do you have? Do you have any plans in mind of, I want to end this year as a champion, I want to fight? It's about getting the right fights.
Like what I'm thinking in this time, like I thought one of my biggest mistakes that I was worrying too much about winning and losing, and I wasn't performing as good as in the gym. Like in the gym, I always spar much better than what I do in a fight. And what I recognized, like I started watching some old videos of old fighters, the fighters who I used to watch when I started training. You know, I'm like, oh, where did this guy go? And I was watching their highlights and everything. I'm like, and I thought I just need to fight more. I don't want to think where I'm gonna be, what I should do. I just want to release that stress and just enjoy the career, because it's just as like, you know, like when you finish high school, it's just few years and you're like, oh, I didn't enjoy it as much as I can in high school. And that's the thing, same thing with fighting career. It's just few years and I want to have more memories, want to enjoy it more fights. And I thought, that's it, let me just enjoy more. Whatever happens, because sometimes it doesn't matter where, like if you don't think about it, you would reach more. Like when you see a lot of fighters say that we don't think about reaching that and putting too much stress, you would be able to reach more. And I think that's the key for me. Like that's it, like just let's get more in shape and enjoy more of that career. Because because now when I'm not fighting, I'm thinking that's the only thing I want to do now. I just want to fight. Like it's not good to just rest like that. It's not a good feeling.
Oh, really, that's it's good to hear what you said as well, because I think it's also the maturity that you reached to a point that it made you realize. But I think that is special. That is, I'm happy that you reached that point, that you think that way, because it wasn't always easy, because it's not because you haven't thought about it. I also feel like I talk to a lot of people that it was not only about your career. You know, your life was not only about that. There's so much things to prove, so much things to sit back and say that why I did what I did, and giving your 100% to mixed martial art. I swear to God, it's going to work. Trust me, this is going to work. It wasn't a mistake. It was the right thing. So there was a lot of things that you had to prove, whether it was not forced on you, but there was things that was there subconsciously. Even as we go with years and what we're seeing in Bahrain today, and I always say that, you know, like we reached to a point where I was talking about Mahbub, who's in Bahrain now with KHK team, and I was saying that for him it's a win-win situation, because if he utilizes all the KHK training camp and everything that he has today, and the opportunity that he's got with the Brave development program, good for him, you know. And he could become that new age Indian fighter who's actually had training with the right camps and with the right talents around him consistently for a long period of time. But even if you never know, it's mixed martial, you don't know where your career goes. But even if things don't go the way it's planned, it's a win-win, because he's going to be that face of hope for a lot of people, you know. And people are going to look and say that if that guy got the agreement and program, he was part of the development program, you know what, I might also be able to get it, you know. And that's all, when we were not supposed to think of doing mixed martial arts for a full time and take that as a career and commit 100%. Today you are saying that, you know what, I want to do it, and that there are people around you who are saying it might be okay. It wasn't okay at your time. It is turning out to be okay now, and you're seeing those generations committing a little more than what we were seeing beforehand. And there's a lot of good kids like Mohammed Zuhair is what, 19 years old?
20 now.
20 years old. And I was seeing you actually in your Instagram, you were holding pads for, what was his name? The kid you were holding?
Alawi.
Oh, from your gym, yeah.
This kid is insane. I mean,
he's obsessed.
He is obsessed. I see him backstage. He's trying to take down Wiz. He's like beating everybody up. He's mad, isn't he?
Yeah,
how old is he?
He's 12 now.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's getting angry because no one wants to fight him. We take him Saudi, no one wants to fight him. We bring him here, no one wants to fight him. And he's getting angry.
He's the future for sure, though, huh?
Yeah, he's very obsessed. And he listens, like anything. He'll tell him, do that, and just walk away, and he'll just keep doing it. Do this, and he listens, and he's very, like, he's the type of student you want to have, you know?
But he's been training since when?
Not long time, like 2 years or something like that. But he's very, like, the good thing, you can see that he's very obsessed. And that's the thing, like, sometimes we cannot make him spar. Like, when he just spar, we'll tell him you cannot go hard, and he'll just he just wants to show, and he'll go hard. Like, and he's like, I'm not going hard, but he is definitely, he's gonna be like, if he continues in the same road, let's hope his teenage years doesn't go take a wrong turn. He's gonna be something really good.
Did you see the video of him sparring with Mohammed Fakruddin?
No, I haven't.
In the cage at the amateur event. they got in there and they were mixing it up.
I was
Little
seeing-
Ahoui and Fakadine, it was hilarious.
I mean, I was seeing his techniques. I mean, there's how he was positioning his feet and everything when he's boxing.
He watches everything. Like he watches
Details.
He watches all the fights. He watched all my fights. He watched all the guys' fights. He studied everyone. Like
There you go.
he
That-
watched boxing. Like he's very like that's his only thing.
and that's the thing, right? Like that's what I was saying. Like what they have today is to, you know, they could watch, learn, sit, hear, talk, and even feel confident. You know, you're just so good to feel that confident, that the confidence that somebody is with you, that I can blindly listen to, and it's okay because trust me, he's gone through it, he's done it, you know, and it's okay, it's going to work, and I have to blindly. Otherwise, there was times when you have nobody to look up to around you, that you're always thinking, you're questioning everybody else that's telling you things, because you're like, I've learned differently, because you end up learning from thousands of people and your mind is structured slightly different. I think all those things that you have to go through in your career as well, I'm not saying it's knowingly or
But it's like the one thing is this, like the new generation kids, like they like to do their own thing. Like it's not like I was speaking to them, a lot of guys, like I'm telling them, when I was your age, like when you were my coach, I was just listening to you, you know, like I would come, I would just listen to whatever you will tell me, you know. I would every day I would just come with questions. I'll ask. And these guys, like, they have a lot of coaches and they just want to train alone. You know, they'll just.
And you think it's because they have a lot of access to a lot of information?
It's one of these reasons, and I think it's also this generation. Like I heard also in football and everywhere they're like that. They just don't want to listen. They want to do their own thing. Like I heard also Cristiano Ronaldo was talking about when he's training with younger guys and they wouldn't listen to him. Like he would talk to them, and I saw it's true. Like I don't know if it's the new generation thing or what it is. There are some guys who would listen, but most of them, they won't think like, okay, this guy like went through a lot of mistakes. This guy did a lot of things. Let me listen to him. They'll just like, nah.
Well, you know,
It's easier to have an ego these days. You're exposed to social media. You have these platforms. You can start developing this ego and presenting yourself a lot earlier than you used to be able to.
but I also think that you know, it's that they had that saying, right? I don't know if it's the right thing to say, but they had the saying where they said that tough men makes good times makes weak men makes tough times, you know. It's that circle, right? So we are in a position where we are like, we all have to be, in a way, change our mindset and don't get too strict about the gis and the belts and the system. I'm not saying you have to have a gi and a belt and a ranking system, but there was a discipline that was, why do I need this? Why do I need to wear this kind of clothes? Why do I have to do this little bowing or this ceremonial things in classes? Why do I have to call somebody a coach and not call his name? Today people don't call coaches coaches anymore. I think, you know, half of them calls names, you know, and these are not something that's part of the techniques.
Yes.
It's not, but we've loosened up so much that instead of saying you don't want to listen, don't listen, it's fine, but still you say yes sir, and you do your thing, you dress properly, you wear the right way. You can't fold your gi. When we used to do taekwondo, if we looked better folding our hands, you know, it looks cooler, we look like Van Damme, but if we walked that way to the class, we would be smacked, you know. So but that has nothing to do with
traditional martial arts are gone, no?
the traditional martial arts. That's the funny thing. The traditional martial arts didn't start as traditional martial arts. Traditional martial arts started as a mentality of how to make the old system better, but to keep that system as it is better, they covered it, protected it with rules and regulations to make sure that these things don't happen, where the generations come and it's just fragmented, and they put system. But with time, that system became rituals, and we think we have to follow that more than the actual. It's like a lot of people in Southeast Asian promotions, you'll see them saying that it's all about honor and respect.
It's not anymore.
It's not. It was never about honor and respect. You ask Musashi Miyamoto about honor and respect. He used to keep his opponents waiting for late before a duel they used to have, only to annoy him and irritate him and disrespect him, so his emotions come out, so he can kill him. You know what I mean? I mean, that was every martial artist, every historic legendary martial artists were always about winning. And if that's mind games, it's mind games. I don't care. I should not be trash talking or I should be trash talking. Whatever gets me to win and have advantage of you over you. So that's how martial arts started. And then they put the systems around it, which was not about fighting respect. It's about how to protect your values, which is discipline, commitment, hard work, dedication, all that things. And the more we try to take that away, like, okay, we don't need belts. And I'm not saying that I'm a fan of belts. I'm just saying that when you take those things away, finally you could come into the class with whatever you want to wear. You can leave however you want. You could behave however you want in the class. I don't have to clean the gym anymore. Before, it was respectful for us to do that. We felt like we were getting stronger. More than that last hour of training session was when we used to clean the gym. You get this energy. And I think that's what's missing today. We reached to that point where gym is, whether you go to a martial art class or you go to a fitness gym, it's the same. The mentality is the same. It's about me, myself, get better. And we always say that I can teach you a jab, but that's giving you the knowledge of it. It's my jab, not your jab. The day it becomes your jab is when you can completely understand it and be able to actually activate that jab. Then it becomes yours. And to be able to reach there, it's not just coach teaching and I'm like, I got the technique. You could do that from internet today. Google is there, but that transfer of that knowledge happens through so many other things. And I think that's kind of missing, but also I think we have to take some blame for that as well, as the sport is evolving so much as mixed martial art, and we are everybody's in the chase or hunt of getting better. We just need to get a lot of information from different places. So yeah, you are right that the young generation has that, but I also think that you need to bring that GSPs, the Hamza Kooheji like yourselves, and to go out there and keep saying that, because eventually when you look back and watch those old fights of those guys you used to watch before, and when you hear them say something, you'll eventually at some point you'll understand so many things that you couldn't understand when you're young. And you just wish that their mind learns that sooner than later.
There is a lot of, like, we thought that traditional martial arts are bad, but there is a lot of good things they have, like a lot of things that we took out, and I think if you can bring them back with the new things, you can make like very good fighters. But a lot of guys, they're even like if you see the conditioning they used to do, their hand conditioning, their shin conditioning, the kung fu guys, their elbow conditioning. We don't do that. It's just about techniques now and circuit conditioning, like bike conditioning and throwing mid balls. It's very different, and repeating the same technique. Now they do, like you tell them do this technique 100 times, they won't do it. Before, they'll do the same kick like 1,000 times. They'll just do it, and then you'll see like when you see like traditional martial art guys try to do some show or something, it looks very nice.
What's happening? What's happening is you're creating amazing athletes. You're measuring everything, and you're creating amazing athletes, but not fighters. Traditional martial arts wouldn't have been 30% of the athlete that these guys are because of all the knowledge and the system and the measurements and everything else. But those are fighters. Those are fighters because, like you said, the way they used to condition, the way they used to do things might not have been the most scientifically right thing to do, but everything that they did, including, the way they were in the gym, the way they were, their behavior was and their culture was, it was always about the fighter's mentality, and
they used to fight for no money. Like, it was just for them. Like when I was watching UFC 1, UFC 2, like I'm watching these fights, I'm thinking, like, these guys, like, crazy, like
it was not even a topic, right?
Yeah, it was just go fight. Like, they lose their teeth and everything, but it's just for them, it's just fighting,
Yeah, it was literally Van Damme stuff that was going on there. The Quest, I think, was the movie.
Brad's a good example of what you just said there. I always think of Brad more as a competitor than a fighter. He's that scientific guy. He's the one that does it all. And when he gets in there, I was going to say it to you before because you mentioned that he just fights to win. He doesn't go to fight. He goes to win. He's, you know what I mean? He's that sort of new age.
Engineer.
Yes.
Yes, and engineers.
Exactly.
Engineers, they have their way of solving problems, no? So they have their own way of structuring.
And Brad Katona is solving his problems.
So I think he measures these things about how to win. Just like, okay, if it's 2 rounds fight, 5-round fight, he'll have his way of winning. He's like smart guy.
Yeah, very.
No, Hamza, always pleasure to sit and have a chat with you. I think this was one fight that I thought that we're definitely going to speak about it. Why not speak about it in Hawk's Corner? It's always going to be more fun to pick your brain, your thoughts on the bantamweight division, your thoughts on the title fight. Wish you speedy recovery. Can't wait to have you back in the cage and get back fighting, you know?
Thank you.
All right. Anything else you want to say? No?
Thank you very
Okay.
much.